What is happening, guys? Goldie Black Ops Kid here, coming at you with a Resident Evil 8 review. Now, I will say if you're a big fan of Resident Evil 4 and a big fan of Resident Evil 7, this game is definitely the right game for you. Honestly, it's truly pretty good. I would say to pick it up if you're a big fan of both games or just one, either 7 or 4, because it brings a lot of elements from both games into this one, and it's really a pretty remarkable experience regardless. I beat this game on normal and on hard with some of the OP weapons, and speed ran the game in less than 3 hours. So I will say cutscenes are absolutely amazing. We're going to be talking about cutscenes, gameplay, a little bit of the story. We're going to not go into full spoiler territory. There'll be a separate video for that. But this game obviously has werewolf vampires, big titty ladies, and yeah, what else can you say? Scared and horny. So really what I want to talk about is some of the main story scenarios. It takes right after Resident Evil 7 with Mia and Ethan Winters, and they start talking about Ethan has some military training and stuff. Thank God. Mia also gets absolutely shredded, by the way.
Mia. Oh, God. Chris? What the hell? Sorry, Ethan.
So, yeah, Chris destroys your wife, and yeah, you wake up after being captured, and you make your slow way to descent. Kind of gives you the horror elements here, but not really anything too spectacular, I will say. You go through this woods, you find a house, and that's basically, it embarks your first journey into Resident Evil 8 Village. Obviously, you find your way into a village. Pretty cut and dry, really. But the opening is super breathtaking. Kind of gives you a tutorial on what to expect with Resident Evil 8. And, yeah, it's pretty remarkable. The graphics, people said the graphics were crappy, and I don't agree with this at all. I really don't think so anyways. The graphics look great. They're all, pretty much photo scanned in, so, some things can look kind of sketchy towards the end game with, tentacles and stuff from far distances. But, yeah, it's really graphically, it's really well designed. A lot of effort, little small details, garbage around the map that was pretty much perfectly placed. The village looks phenomenal. The enemy types are vast. The areas are vast. There's always something to do in specific areas. There's weird designs and weird areas, weird new keys and everything to design as well. And honestly, it's just there's so much cool stuff to just look at in every single corner. Foggy areas, weird bosses, weird new enemy types that were unlike anything in Resident Evil 7. Now, as we get into that, werewolves are basically just zombies, but they're really just kind of chilling, honestly. You obviously start out the pistol, obtain a shotgun, and eventually obtain something that I really haven't seen in a Resident Evil game in a minute, a sniper rifle. It's kind of interesting to see this, but really, really cool to see something brand new and unique inside Resident Evil, especially werewolves and vampires. It's very interesting. This guy whips you into a new dimension. User may vary. And they just kind of swarm up on you, and this big, gigantic guy comes out of nowhere and says, "Howdy doody, I'm here to smash your booty." But at the same time, he just kind of leaves you alone. If you find these people over here, and you lead inside a civilian settlement where they argue at each other into eventually her demise, which is kind of funny because she cares about her dad after turning into a basically a werewolf, which Ethan gets his hand, almost half his hand bit off, which this guy just can't escape his hand injuries throughout this game and Resident Evil 7. It's impossible. It's kind of funny, actually. So upon completing that section, you find your way towards the castle, which is Merchant here, which I like to call BK Supermodel for reasons unknown. So this guy will sell you ammo, sell you upgrades to your weapons, as well as supply like med kits, first aids, um, ammo, which is kind of expensive, but you can also get treasure from the random enemies you kill, like crystal skulls. You can get boss treasure, finding treasure along just random objects in the game. And it honestly, that's the best way to make money. You can get like $70K to $100,000 for some stuff. It increases damage, fire rate, ammo supply, stuff like that. And that's the best way to earn the money. There is an achievement to attain all this without using the treasure system. Like I said, once you're inside the castles, there's some pretty vast areas, from underground cellars full of blood with decrepit Dark Souls like hollows to courtyards with big tittied mommy milker vampire ladies and her daughters just destroying you every step of the way. She basically turns into a Mr. X halfway through and follows you around the castle when you're just trying to find and discover new puzzles and areas. So I will say they took like a Resident Evil 3 approach. Trying to solve puzzles and getting attacked by her is actually pretty settling to the pants. Him and his hands, man. Yeah, I'm not surprised. You're mainly sent to the castle to find your daughter Rose after she's kidnapped and taken away by Chris and his lackeys. Mainly, these just trying to find his daughter through the entire game. It's kind of cool. When the map is used, you can find these red areas, which if there's red in the area, there's either key items or there is key items or just supplies to get. And that's really something that's nice about this game. You escape Vampire Lady, and you just have to discover and kill her 3 daughters, and then eventually you do have to, unfortunately, put down Mommy Lady to eventually beat the first area. It's really, honestly, the boss variety in this game is pretty decent. They're pretty cool. They pretty much turn out just like everything that was in kind of Resident Evil 8 or Resident Evil 7, though, where they go from like normal humans to like gigantic genetic mutational freaks, which I really never understood really why they needed to do this route. Like I said, we have a guy later in the game who could have just like destroyed you just being what his normal powers are, and then he turns into a giant abomination. It just feels like some of them could have been refined more into their current states. Melee attacks and like sword attacks are extremely easy to dodge, as well as just like the enemies aren't as strong in this game and not as smart, I guess. But like I said, the horror is definitely dialed down from this game to Resident Evil 7, which is kind of unfortunate. Also, inventory management in this game is almost unnecessary because you can just easily upgrade your inventory slots so easy in this game. To where the point where inventory doesn't even seem like it's like a necessity, honestly. You also have a secondary slot where you can kind of keep things. A secondary slot to keep things and make sure that you're able to put things so you can actually fill your entire inventory slot. But like I said, I never really ran into any inventory problems besides having to swap some things to the side and around and whatnot. I will say the enemy type is very interesting compared to all of Resident Evil 7. This game has the most variety in terms of enemies. Like you have werewolves, like I said, undead, Dark Souls-like characters. And the werewolves are actually pretty cool. They're not as strong or as fast as I would have liked, but they do pose a threat when in bulk, which you will find later in the game. So, combat's great. The story is pretty damn good. Now, the bosses can be improved upon, but honestly, they weren't half bad as well. We'll talk about spoilers with like further boss battles in the end game and as well as the end game bosses, and kind of discuss what happened with Resident Evil 8 towards the latter half, because the first half of the game is so damn good. It goes from Ethan being a vicarious wanderer to just destroying anything that stands in his way in terms of bosses and or just various enemies. It kind of makes Ethan Winters feel overpowered, and a lot of people don't like Ethan Winters at all, which I don't really have a problem with Ethan. You can replace him with mods with, Chris Redfield or Dante from Devil May Cry. You can also make Chris Devil May Cry, and you can also change the vampire lady into Thomas the Train. You can also do nude things, which I don't condone. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of cool seeing the mods already kind of being in the game and pretty heavily implemented. But really, the game is pretty damn good, and I give it a 9 out of 10. And if you guys want to see the spoiler discussions, I'll just subscribe to the channel, like the video. So it really helps my channel grow in these troubling times of my channel, because I've just been more diversifying my content and trying to lay down to one specific thing. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I love you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. Fuck. Jesus. That actually was the first scare that's, first thing that's scared me. His enemies are taking a little bit more hit than I remember. What the fuck? Jesus! Oh, just... No, please! Not the penis. Only limb they haven't taken it from me yet. My legs and my penis. Same thing. No! Halls of Pleasure? Where's that at?
Trying to work up my appetite, are you?
Sure. Oh, fuck!